First on the agenda is to approve the September 9th meeting minutes. You've read through. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
So first and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I guess I should mention, maybe this is a special meeting, for the opening the special meeting. We have a potential zoning amendment for 704 East 12th. Suzanne, are you taking this one?
I am.
With Justin gone? Okay.
Yes.
I'll let you read everything into record.
Yes. Commissioners, coming before you this evening is a zoning amendment request for 704 East 12th Street. And the property's legal description is as shown in your packet, and that would be 704 East 12th Street. You have several maps included in your packet. I also included the table 3.4, table of uses, and we'll get to that in the description of the reason for the zoning change. We do need to hold a public hearing, and the public hearing will take the form of a recommendation to the Newton City Commission, who have final authority to act upon the request. The criteria by which an application for a zoning amendment must be judged are set forth in the zoning ordinances at Article 1, Section 1.10-4, subsection D1. Findings must be made on each of the 5 following points. It is not necessary for commissioners to find that all factors lead to the same conclusion, or even that a majority of factors indicate one way or another. It is possible one or more factors may be deemed so significant that they outweigh all others. Following each standard are the comments and observations of staff. Criteria A. And I should state that they are requesting a zoning change from an R3 to a PO, a professional office. Criteria A, whether the change in classification would be consistent with the intent and purpose of these regulations with the city's adopted comprehensive plan and other adopted city policies, plans, programs, ordinances, rules, and regulations. When considering a change of zoning classification for any piece of property, it is necessary to consider whether every use that would be permitted under the requested classification would be appropriate for that property in the surrounding area, and not just focus on the use that the applicant indicates is intended or is presently being employed. This is because there is no way to prevent the applicant or any future owner of the property from using the site for any of the other uses permitted under the requested classification. In other words, the use of a property may not be restricted to the particular use contemplated or in existence when the request is made, but may include any use allowed within that zoning classification. We have shown on the screen the location of the property and the surrounding zoning. 704 is shown in gray, and then I think the next shows kind of a pulled out view. The R3 zone is kind of the purplish blue, and the pink is the PO surrounding that property. And then you'll see there's a sliver of 704 East 12th that's in PO, and then the balance is in the R3. They're requesting PO for the full property. Let's go to criteria B. Whether every use that would be permitted on the property, if it were reclassified, would be compatible with the uses permitted on other property located in the immediate vicinity, and whether the subject property is suitable for the uses to which it has been restricted. The staff comments are that PO zoning provides for specific activities, including but not limited to. And I've listed everything that is a primary permit in your table of use, that 3.4 table out of the zoning code under PO. So it could be single family, townhomes, all kinds of residential, public buildings on land that's owned by city, county, state, or federal governments, child care centers, churches, daycares, financial institutions, historical sites, libraries, schools, medical and dental diagnostic laboratories, medical offices or clinical facilities, public or private parking lots, et cetera, as listed in your packet. And then any other business that's determined by the zoning administrator to be of the same general character as the above listed uses. Any questions on that? Okay. Criteria C, whether adequate sewer and water facilities and all other needed public services exist or can be provided to serve the uses that would be permitted on the property if it were reclassified. All of the city's public utilities are adjacent to the property and available for connection if additional was needed. These properties are already connected. Item D, whether the proposed amendment would correct an error in the application of these regulations. Staff is not aware of any errors in the application of the zoning regulations to be corrected through the requested zoning amendment. And then criteria E, whether the proposed amendment is made necessary because of changed or changing conditions in the area affected, and if so, the nature of such change or changing conditions, and whether the proposed amendment provides a disproportionately greater loss to the individual landowner relative to the public gain. Staff comment is that the existing site is currently zoned R3 and meets zoning requirements for the existing plot. The applicant is pursuing a zoning change for a professional office building to serve the applicant that owns much of the surrounding property, as we established in the map that we looked at. You have attached all of the zoning maps. You have the comprehensive plan map. You have all of the notifications that were sent out to the surrounding property owners and the published affidavit of publication. If you have any questions, we would be happy to try and answer those. I believe we have 2 representatives here from Mirror Inc. that could speak to their request, but it is our understanding that they're wanting to change it to PO so they could have, Mirror Inc. could have an office at this location.
Very good. Is there anybody from Mirror that would like to step forward and speak at this time?
Des Martins, President and CEO of Mirror. I'm available to answer any questions. We own the, as you see, the adjacent properties. We purchased this some time ago just to control it a bit because we had a lot of harassing some of our clients from whomever would live there. So we purchased it for that reason, but would like to have the ability to expand it to offices should that be something we'd like to do in the future. It's a tiny little house, as you probably know. It needs a lot of work.
Very good. Anybody have any questions for Des at the moment?
So what, I have a question. Can you step up, please? What's the property used for right now?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Vacant.
Just a vacant house? Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, we'll open up the public hearing portion of this proceeding. Is there anybody here that would like to speak either for or against? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. I'll bring it back to commissioners. Do you have any
Mr. Chairman,
questions?
I served on the Mirror Board for 18 years, a couple of times as its chairman. Haven't been on that board for 4 years or so, so I no longer have a family, financial, or fiduciary responsibility to the board, but I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? I think the only comment that I'll say is simply that, you know, we've been very careful about watching spot zoning certain things, but I don't consider this to be a spot zoning one at all with it being zoned that way around it, so. No more questions? I'll call for a vote. Does somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the zoning request, rezoning request for 704 East 12th from R3 to PO zoning classification.
I will second that motion.
I have a first and a second. Any more comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you. And commissioners and applicant, this will go to the City Commission at their December 20th meeting, which will be held at noon in this room. Thank you.
I will adjourn the special meeting. Thank you.
And I will open the Newton Historical Preservation Commission meeting for December 2nd, 2024. Looks like we need to consider approval of the October 7th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do we have any discussion on the minutes? Are they correct?
Mr. Chairman, I would move their approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All in not favor, say nay.
You work for the government?
Knights Columbus, sorry. That's how we do it. Actually, we say same sign. Anyway. Okay, review of the 419 North Main. Rebecca?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Tonight, we have before you a project at 419 North Main. This project includes some front facade improvements and replacement windows. We also have a few other pieces that you'll notice here, but let's go ahead and, if we could hold at this photo. Yeah, this one. We'll just keep this in mind as I work through this, and then we have lots of photos and images in this if we need to reference them. The property at 419 North Main has been applied for a replacement of the front facade windows. The rear windows utilizing the vinyl product, which is presented in your packet. The windows were selected to represent the similar original windows, which are really only remnants left. The front facade portion that they are proposing does recess the main entrance and the side door to meet the current code requirements. This recess aligns kind of with the overall district and design, but as you know, that we do not allow the doors to open onto the sidewalk in our current modern work. The transom windows are to be installed as they were previously, and the tile below the new storefront is not the original brick, but it was picked to be compatible with material and set apart as a new modern material and not to replicate any historic pieces. And that will not change with the other pieces. The nomination details that we have mention the steeped gable parapet, the 3 equally spaced windows. Of course, will be retaining all of the original window cutouts, that there's a glass transom that had been there, but it was covered. And then, of course, the south door that leads to the second floor. It does talk about how the ground floor had been altered, so we took all of those things into consideration in this review. We could continue forward through these. You can definitely see in the drawings we have, this is the final rendering that the applicant is presenting with the new front store windows, and then this is the rear portion. Currently, only a few of these windows actually exist, as you'll notice by the sheeting that's covering them. And the applicant is here today if you would like to speak with her a little bit. We have some historical photos that we've added in to kind of give you a sense of place and time, but they're all really hard to see. Great shout out to Chris at the Historical Museum for finding these. But basically what we see is a continued pattern of front flat facades. It is hard to pick them out. We have very carefully gone through these, Chris and I, to see if we could find any distinctive details, and we really were not able to see very many, but we did do the research and wanted to share that with you. This is probably the best photo we have of the block, and sadly we have some paraders standing right where I would love to have the photo. So that is what we have for you today, and like I said, we have the applicant and we have one of her representatives here that is for the windows as well, if you have additional questions.
Do you have anything you'd like to step forward and say, or?
Hi, I'm Kai. I'm the owner and applicant. This is definitely the first step of many. There's definitely going to be a lot more work that needs to be done on the building, but hopefully this will propel us forward to bringing new business to Newton. If you have any questions about the storefront and its design or about the windows themselves, I or the representative from Climate Shielder would be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions? Looks like there's no question. I'd just like to state that I am happy with what you guys are doing to that building, and what others in that block are doing currently is very nice for that area, especially with Amtrak and everything else coming in. So,
Mr. Chair, I will remind you that according to our local ordinance, that when we look at deteriorated architectural features, what we're looking at is that we hope that they can be repaired, but in instances like this where there's nothing left to repair, we're looking for a new material that should hopefully match in composition, design, color, texture, visual qualities. Of course, we always hope that there's repair or replacement available, but if not, then we're looking for something according to our physical or pictorial evidence, which we just went through. And as usual, there's a dual motion that will need to approve the project as it would not damage or destroy, and then approve the application either as presented or with modifications.
do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, looks like everyone said aye. Is there any old business that we need to present?
No, sir.
Any new business?
Thankfully, none of that either.
I think we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Congratulations.